Hey, it's Alyssa. Today we are doing something a little bit different. As you can see, this is my first ever voiceover video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. For today, I thought we would recreate an old animation I did several years ago. Now for this specific animation, I decided to redo the Tangled Up meme animation I did 3 years ago. It is crazy that it's been so long, but I thought I would reanimate it and give it some new style 3 years later, now that I have more experience underneath my belt. So let's get into it. Now for this specific animation, I wanted to change things up a bit and to not just do the exact same thing as I did 3 years ago. To start, I created a reference board with images of my OC Celine, that is the main character of this animation. I put dresses I wanted her to wear and some reference poses as well to help me out with the overall animation. I use these boards often to help me visualize the vibe and flow of my projects. For this project, the reference board was especially helpful because it allowed me to see all of the elements together and to make sure they were cohesive. I also redesigned Celine's outfit. The original was fine, but that's all it was. Fine. I wanted a bit more of an interesting design that also fits her now as a character. She has changed a lot as a character over the years, not only in design, but in personality as well. So I wanted to give her a new design that reflected that. I would say that as far as changes to the overall animation, the changes I made to the colors and outfit are probably the biggest. Now we will get more into Celine as a character later, but really quickly, for the animation, I began with the walk cycle as it required the most traditional animation. I used a walk cycle reference to guide the leg and the arm movements, which I'll show on screen now. I sketched the movement first, then break the line art into different layers. For example, I had the torso and the head on one layer, then the skirt and the feet, and also arms, hair, and earrings all on separate layers. This helps me manage the different moving parts of an animation. The walk cycle wasn't too bad, the only challenge was getting the hair to look right. I wanted the hair to look natural and flow with the movement of the body, but it just kept looking janky. But eventually I was able to get it right. I kept the coloring very simple with just flat colors and no shading to help speed up the process. And with that, the walk cycle is done. I will show you the final walk cycle at the end of the video when the final animation is complete. For this next part, I'm not going to show the speed paint for each and every drawing in this animation just because it gets very repetitive very fast. I used a lot of previous drawings to help me get through all the drawings easier because there was a lot. So for that reason, I'm just going to show the ones I think are important. For example, the drawing for the main chorus of the song. I used references for these poses, especially since drawing flowy dresses is a real challenge for me. I found a reference by an artist called Tuara, I believe that's how it's pronounced, that was posted by ArtStation on Pinterest, so I'll show that on screen right now. Now for the poses of the animation overall, some poses are kept very similar to the original to honor it, while others are updated to show my improved skills, these poses being the most changed. I felt that I should change them because the original poses were just not that interesting. She was supposed to be dancing and sort of showing off her moves, but she doesn't really read that well in the original animation that well. So I changed them in order to be more flowy and fun too. Now while the footage plays, I thought I would talk more about Celine as a character. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, you may recognize her from some other videos I've made, but she is one of the main OCs that I've had for a long time. She's part of a main cast of characters that is part of a long, overarching story that I started writing back in 2019, where all the characters have something to run away from or problems they don't want to deal with, so they just go on a fun, silly little adventure instead. As for Celine herself, I do not want to get into details since I do plan on one day making a comic for this story, but she's basically the girly girl of the group. She's into high fashion and can be a pain in the butt sometimes. But she's really kind and caring to all of the people in her life despite that. Think Rarity from My Little Pony, but without all the friendship, it's magic stuff. Anyways, getting back to the animation, I wanted to talk about a specific app you may see me using in this video. Recently, I discovered an app called PoseArc. This video isn't sponsored, but it is really helpful for getting pose references. The app allows you to make poses and play around with pre-existing angles. It also has existing preset poses that can be adjusted, and the camera can be moved around as well. You can also change the model. They have both girl and guy models, and what is that? I guess they also have muscle models. Sorry about that. That caught me off guard. That was terrifying. But anyways, After that jump scare, I gathered some other poses and started to try to replace this specific pose in the original video. In the video, she has a laying down pose that's kind of flirty and matches the music, but I couldn't wrap my head around how that would look with such a full skirt. So I settled on changing it for the sake of the overall animation. So instead I tried this sort of hand behind the head pose to match the energy of the original. And now, with all the drawings done, it's time to get into editing! For editing, I tried to maintain the original editing style, just updating it now and then. I kept the timing consistent with the original and kept going back to the old YouTube video to make sure everything was lined up correctly. For the first part, I just laid out the overall timing, placed the drawings where they needed to go, and then after that, I went through and added transitions and other overlays. I also discovered that CapCut has keyframes, which I didn't know. Have I just been living underneath a rock or something? Like, what? I always thought that CapCut was just a basic editing software. I didn't know they had keyframes. So I played around with that and used some keyframes to add some movements. Overall, I'm really happy with how the reanimation turned out. This project was very nice to see what I could do now and finally make what I wanted to make back then. I'm glad I was able to upload this video and overall make it better for my girl Celine. I think Celine is probably one of my most drawn characters now also, but it wasn't like she wasn't before, let's be real. And with that, the editing is done and the final animation is finally completed. Now, after 2 weeks of work, we can finally compare the two videos side by side so we can see the differences. And with that, enjoy.
1, 2, 3, 4. I took the perfect avenue down the road to both of you. Did I go Dutch? This is too much. With all the money in the world, you could never buy this girl quite enough. It will be tough. If romancing me with neons is something you should do, make the letters bright and luminous and blue, and get me waking up, shake it up, tangled up. You could be quaking up, make it up, tangled up. You can't be faking it, making it for my love. Before it's tragedy, don't get me tangled up.
Overall, I'm really happy with how the final animation came out and how it all came together in the end. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see the animation meme with just the animation and no annoying voiceover, I will put it on screen now so you can click on that. If you want to see more videos like this, you can click on the recommended video that YouTube has gladly served to you on a little silver platter. And that's all folks, thank you for watching and I'll see y'all later.